29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
22. 21.
20.
19.
18.
17.
16.
15.
14.
13. 12.
11.
10.
8.
6.
6. What happened to 7?
7.
5.
4.
3.
2.
1.
0.
No one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition. Guys, I hope you can't hear the fan too much, because the truth is, don't care. It is currently 85 degrees. The sun has already went down. Well, I know the background would fool you, but the sun has went down. And it's hot. And everything smells like a campfire because the city of San Diego is trying to burn itself the fuck down, which I'm okay with, as long as I can get my shit and get out. Yeah, I was in Jared's live feed. I told everybody, yeah, it's fucking hot. It's the coolest. I was able to get it today while I was filming, because I filmed that sharpening thing, which you guys didn't see. Was I was going to do it as one shot. I was going to do it as one take, but the problem was it was just too fucking hot. I was going to do it as one take, but I had to keep going and like splashing water on my face and shit like that. It literally was 93 degrees in the studio, even in the garage here, even with the garage door up, because the sun just, for a good chunk of the day, the sun hits that roll up door, and then for a good chunk of it, it hits the back wall. So it makes its way from hitting this side. It just hits two corners of it for a good chunk of the day. I don't mind it. Like right now, it's like 80. Yeah, it's starting to cool down. It's I got the fan on high. But yeah, like I said, if you guys can hear the fan, I apologize. And the door is wide open, so you may hear some outdoor noises. And I don't know why I've got a flicker. But when we get some more people here, after Jared decides to stop talking about, to cover up his freakishly bad body odor with this like oil or something that he puts on him, on himself, I figured that we would, once he's done pontificating about how he covers up his horrible body odor, that we would talk about Lock Rock, Detent Lash, and oversized stop pins. Because to tell you the truth, we're going to talk about it because I put up a video. I did a short about it, then I did a full video about it. And I'm just tired of people calling me a fucking idiot. So I thought I would address these things that people keep calling me an idiot about and tell them, having worked on knives and repaired knives and made knives and repaired, being taught how to repair knives and doing it for myself on some of my extremely expensive knives, that I kind of know what I'm talking about. So I do have to go grab my phone. Honey Bear, what's going on? I got to grab my phone and optimize this device because I keep getting a low signal warning, but I just want to make sure this thing's set up. So give me a moment. My phone is just right over here. But yeah, can we still mention Strider? Yeah, we can just Strider all you want. I like Mick, but sometimes his knives are kind of fucked. Why would I tell you you couldn't mention? Why would I tell you you couldn't mention Strider? I never said you couldn't mention Strider. Never once said you couldn't talk about Strider knives. I like Strider. I like some of the Striders. One of the best custom knives I ever had was a full custom Strider. Was it SMF? But yeah, I'm gonna prioritize this device. I don't want to get into the. Here's the thing. I don't want to get into the topic till a couple other people show up. So I will let you guys know. I don't. Did I get any of my birthday boxes? No, I did not. I got one present, and it was not from anyone in my family. No one, my kid and wife, did not even get me a present. But that's okay. I told them not to. They did bring me a piece of cake. I got a gift from Winston Cobretti. I got 4 boxes of Death Wish coffee. 2 of them dark roast, 1 of them medium roast, and 1 of them espresso roast. So that's currently what we're enjoying right now is the espresso roast. It's delightful. But I'll show you guys in a sec. As soon as I get done prioritizing this device on my internet, it's slow. I will show you guys what he sent me, because he sent me a couple of really cool shirts. Are you doing something special for Winston writing Don't Get? I don't know. I don't know what writing Don't Get is. Thanks for clarifying. Thanks for playing, Aiden. Stop back guy next time. What you've said makes 0 sense. Winston's one of those guys that Winston has stopped by and hung out and watched UFC fights and shit. Oh, I don't know. 3 times? 2 or 3 times? So I have several unknown devices logged into my I don't know what these unknown devices are. 2 Spartan Harsey folders, both have Detent Lash. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Most knives are gonna have a little bit of Detent Lash. There are very few knives that have 0 Detent Lash. Even my much loved Ferrum Forges will have a tiny bit of Detent Lash. I can tell you why the Spartan Harsey does have a little bit of Detent Lash is because it is a it's a knife that a lot like the Chris Sabenza has got it's got a very small detent ball because it runs on washers. It does snap open, but it's a washer run knife that has a very small detent ball because it's more designed to, oh wow, look, it barely shows up. It's meant more for slow rolling. Yeah, you can snap it open and the action on it is really good. Good God, I got that sharp. I forgot I resharpened this. I used it the other day. Does my Norseman have any Detent Lash? Well, let's see. Allow me to pull it out of the waistband of my sweaty boxer shorts. It does have ever so slight amount. Now, I will say it has a lot less than other knives, and I will tell you why, because it's got a flat face detent, which is more like a detent post. Knives that have a detent post, which is a flat face on top instead of a ball, don't have that like little bit of play that you get where the ball kind of slops around and starts to work its way up the lip. It has much more of a snap, but it still does have ever so slight little bit of play. Here, watch. You see it? Ever so slight, the little bit of detent play. Which doesn't bother me because I understand how a knife works. People that don't, well, I don't want it to have any detent lash. Well, then you don't understand. Then you truly don't understand how a knife is constructed, how it's designed to work, and how it's built. Now, if it has a ton, which is why this is out, because this really doesn't have shit for detent. You got to really hammer that. That's kind of unacceptable. I still like this knife, though. But I bet your Norseman has a slight bit of detent lash. To tell you the truth, Will, all knives. And my knife is also a lot older than yours, and my knife has seen a lot of use. It's my most used knife. So, and I'm sorry I'm not putting these comments up, but it's hot and I'm not saying, holy shit, Tom, new member. I don't have my bell. I hid my bell for myself again. So we'll give you welcome to the paying members. So guys, if you are a paying member and you have not accessed the Gilded server, you're going to want to go check that. Tom, I have a link to it in my community tab, or if you find me on Instagram, I can definitely send you a link through DM on Instagram. So I will not. Emerson 0 detent. Oh, I thought you said 0 detent lash. I was about ready to issue you a tongue lashing, as it would be. So yeah, Tom, I have a. Oh, Alice, you were already a paying member. Alice, you were already a member. Yeah, you get a discount on sharpening. I may have to put the I will tell you, the sharpening service is, I mean, I'm caught up, but the fact is I'll explain that a little bit too. But since there's a handful of people, there's like 24 people here, I want to talk about a couple of the things that I talked about on a video, and people told me I was an idiot. So, and it is Lock Rock and Detent Lash. Now, Detent Lash, there's not much you're going to be able to do with Detent Lash. And what Detent Lash is, you have your detent ball, and then you have a hole. And the size of the hole has to accommodate the ball. And the ball also has to have enough room for it to work its way out of and push the and lift the lock bar out of the way. And when it does that, that's when you get your snap. So the pressure you're putting down on that builds up to a point where finally that ball, and you can make a Norseman fail if you try. And you're putting all that force on it, and it overcomes that and it comes out. So you're always going to have a little bit of play in that. The larger the detent ball, the smaller, and the bigger the detent ball, the further you can sit it in, the less detent lash you're going to have. The tighter you can get that tolerance from hole size to detent ball is always going to eliminate that a little bit more. That's why Ferrum Forges have very few knives that have much of any detent lash, because they use that rolling detent, which is massive, but still, because it rolls, allow you to have that smoothness to still kick out and slide. So, no, I'm not gonna do that. People get all butthurt about shit like that. So go knock on the fucking door. So that's why detent lash happens. A detent lash isn't a horrible thing, unless like I said, it's bad enough that you really don't have a detent, like what you would get on an Emerson or on this Spyderco flipper compression lock, which is not a good idea. I like the knife. I really do like the knife, but this is out because of that. It has very, very little detent at all, and a ton of detent, like enough that it'll just, if you have enough of detent lash, it's like not having a detent at all. So that's one of the problems with that. And you, like I said, once you develop some detent lash, it's only going to get worse over time, because every time that ball rolls in and out of that hole, you're opening up the mouth of that hole to allow, and it's going to allow a little bit more. So that's the detent lash thing. But the big one was, people were talking about, I did the video about lock rock and how you overcome lock rock. And some people are just, well, if you just take a little bit of material off the lock bar, I'm like, it already doesn't marry up. So let me explain what lock rock is, and we can really get into it. But yeah, detent lash is not an uncommon thing. It's not a horrible thing. Let me see. Does this have any? This might have, no. This might have ever so slight. No, this one doesn't have any detent lash. But then again, this knife doesn't get used. Because this is a very special knife, limited run. There's only like 10 of these that exist with that finish. So you can hear it. There is no real detent lash. There's nothing. It just snaps. It's like breaking glass. But that's because if you could see inside, which I might be able to let you see. Can you see the size of that detent ball? It's huge. It's huge. And so that means your detent hole is bigger. The fact that this thing has a rolling detent means it's not really like forcing its way out of the detent hole. So you're going to have a longer longevity of this before it starts to develop detent play. So that's just a thing that is it's just a thing that happens in knives, in flipping knives. Now, like I said, you can kind of get rid a little bit of detent lash and strengthen up the detent and action if you are willing to try it without being an animal about it. You take your knife apart and you can add a little bit more tension to the lock bar. Just gently working it over. Look at where it is. Give it a little kick over, a little bit of tension. See if it moved. Keep trying. And that can help with some of the detent lash if there's just not enough lock bar tension to force it down in that hole. So you can kind of do that, and that also will also give you a pretty snappy action because it takes more pressure from your finger to overcome the spring tension of the lock bar pushing down. So I really prefer a very heavy detent, not a heavy detent, but heavy lock bar tension. Not as heavy as you saw in that Medford Slim Mini that I modified for that guy, but somewhere in between that and what most other knives have. It's just a thing that happens. Like I said, detent lash is a thing that you just really can't avoid flipping knives. The only knives that aren't going to have detent lash are OTFs, lockbacks, like this. There's no detent. There's just a spring. It's like rocker lock or lockback, back lock. Those aren't going to have it because they're just a completely different animal. It's just something that's going to happen with flippers. Now, when I was talking about oversized stop pins, I had a lot of people not listen to the part leading up to adding an oversized stop pin and why a double stop pin is fucking brilliant. And it just irritates me that like I'm only responsible for what I say, not what you're. It doesn't, it's not that it irritates me that people are calling me a fucking idiot. I'm used to that. It's a common thing. I have a YouTube channel. People just have a general consensus that most people on YouTube have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. So I have no thoughts. If you guys want to support the channel, super chats are available because I'm dropping a lot of F-bombs because I'm in a mood tonight. The guys that are on the Gilded saw it. So I have no thought that this video is going to be monetized. At any rate, when I talk about putting an oversized stop pin in a knife, people are like, well, why would you put an oversized stop pin in? And I'm like, well, if you had watched the whole video, you would see that is pretty much the only way to restore a knife that has got lock rock back to its basis. So we got to look at what is lock rock. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about is what is lock rock. And lock rock is really simple to explain. On this one, it would be very hard for me to repair any lock rock that happens. But this thing's a beast, so I don't think I have to worry about it. On this DOC, you have a stop pin that's back here, so it's going to be really easy for me to explain what lock rock is. So, what lock rock is this lock interfaces a radiused area. So that lock comes up, right? And it hits and it slides up into this. How do I do it? It's like this. So it slides in. No, it's like this. It slides in here and it starts to engage, and it's always going to engage this front part. And as things wear, you've got it continues to stay tight, but where you've got this area here. So the lock interfaces, so it's got an angle like this. And then your lock bar comes up and it hits here. And then there's a spot where it's going to stop and it's going to lock up and it's going to prevent that blade from moving forwards and backwards because the lock bar is now engaged with the radius area. That's not a good knife to use to show. Here. This is a good one. So your radius area here, you see that line? That's where your lock is engaging. That's where your lock bar comes out and engages with that radius area that I just showed you. And when they touch up, it only can go so far. And then that's what's going to lock your blade and prevent any movement. So there's a couple things that happen when you flip a knife. First of all, when you flip that open, you're having two things happen. That's a violent action. That's a fairly heavy blade on this. And it's slamming open. And in there is that little pin. See that little pin? And so what happens is that slams up against that and stops, and your lock bar comes over and goes over as far as it can to prevent the lock from going forward. So when you do that, hear that? That's slamming really hard into that pin. So you're going to have a little bit of deformation. The area here, that little cutout right here, is what engages with the stop pin. And then the lock bar kicks over. So when it hits that hard, that sound you're hearing is a combination of that blade slamming into that pin and the lock slamming over because it's been given a clear spot for it to drop over. Well, anytime you have two pieces of metal hitting each other, something has to give a little. And either your pin or the area that the stop pin touches is going to give. And the fact is that that lock kicking over, I'll do it this way, that lock kicking over, it works its way over here. Even though that radius is like this and you're still getting more tension as you go, eventually you reach the point where your lock bar can't travel any further because it's only got so much tension. It can only travel so far. And when it gets to a point where it can't travel any further, then you start to have lock rock. Well, the best way, well, the only way to overcome that is to add some material somewhere. So some people say, oh, we'll just get a new, hey, James. Thank you very much, sir. I can't see what the super chat or your super sticker was, but I appreciate it. So some people, I'll just get a new lock bar insert. Well, that's not always the problem because sometimes that steel lock bar insert is what has worn. Depending on the steel that was used, if you use a softer steel as your lock bar insert, you're fine. But if you happen to have a lock bar insert that's harder than the steel of the blade, well, then the blade is what has worn. So typically what happens is instead of trying to add material to the lock bar, which is near on impossible, it's impossible. What you can do is you can change the interface for the blade to the stop pin. So now what you've got is, because your blade can come up and now your lock is here, your pin has, so what's happening is your blade is allowed to hyperextend. Anybody ever hyperextend a knee? It fucking hurts. But that's what's happening is it's hyperextending. You've now bent that material enough that you let that blade go back. And then it's got some wobble. Well, the only way to take care of that is to add some material at the back and kick it forward. So how would you do that? Well, you get a stop pin that's ever so slightly fatter than the one you had. It's kind of like when you look at yourself when you were 30 and then you're 40, or 20 and then 30. It's just a fatter version of what's already there. You know what I mean? Trust me, I see myself in the mirror every morning. So by oversizing that stop pin, you allow yourself to bring that blade back over to where it engages with the lock. So instead of being back like this, it's now forward like this. You know what I'm saying? So here's your blade. So now instead of being candid back and hyperextended, it brings it forward. Now, there's a problem afoot with the majority of knives. If you change that stop pin here, which controls your open position, you only have one stop pin, because guess what it also does? So you see here how that's got that notch there. If you were to look, when I do this, bring it up like that, there's a notch exactly opposite of the one at the front. See it? Right there. So there's one on the back. Right? Right there on the spine. There's also one right there. Because that pin also controls how far the blade goes shut. So if you've oversized your stop pin, if you've changed this position this way, guess what you've done? You've changed this position this way. So if you put an oversized stop pin in most knives, you're going to have to do a little bit of material removal right in there, in that little open area, not on the lock bar, not on the lock face, because that's what we're trying to correct. We've already fixed that. What you want to do is take out a tiny bit of material in that area right there between the lock interface, the lock radius, and that clip, and that's where your stop pin sits. Each knife's a little different. Some companies don't do it that way. Sometimes it's on the inside, but at any rate, any way you look at it, when you put that oversized stop pin, for most knives, you're changing the open and closed position, and you have to do, so you wanted the open position to change, but you didn't want the closed position to change, because guess what? You change your closed position, now your knife closes and it hits a spot where it's not going into. It's detent. So what do you have to do? Like I said, you have to remove a little bit of material right there where that stop pin is going to sit, and you should be good. And I can show you exactly, because I carried and loved this knife so much that I actually had to do that, because there's an oversized stop pin in here. So if you were to look in there, you see that shiny area in there? That's where I took a carbide bit and I cleaned out a little bit of material so that this knife would drop back into detent properly. That's what you got to do if you have a single stop pin. Wow, this has been a long roundabout way for me to explain why a double stop pin. This is why I didn't do it as detailed in the video. Is everybody good? Anybody got any questions so far? I'm like, seriously, I'm not joking. If anyone has a question about what I was talking about so far, I absolutely can explain it a little bit better. I don't want somebody to watch this and go, he's a fucking idiot. Because I literally get this constantly about this video. He's just a fucking idiot. Why would you put an oversized stop pin in? That's ridiculous. You wouldn't have to take material out if you didn't take stop pin out. And I was like, well, there was already something wrong with the knife if you had simply listened to the first part of the video. So, okay, so cool. Now there are some ways for knives that don't have, like if you have a knife that does not have a lock bar insert, you can carbonize the lock face, but it gets gritty. So years, decades, it depends. If you're one of those guys that sits and flips your knives, it could literally be months. That's what, like, have you ever noticed, like when I do a video, have you heard anything clicking or clacking except when I'm explaining and demonstrating? There's a reason for that. Fidgeting with your knives, sitting there and flicking your knives and just flicking them back and forth and flicking them back and forth. That is what causes it. It causes a horrendous amount. If you sit at your desk and flip that thing 40 times an hour for an 8-hour shift, how many flips is that a day? Somebody tell me. I don't maths. So 40 times an hour, because I've seen people that do it way more than that. We're talking like 10 times a minute. So you figure like 600 times an hour. That much impact back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth is causing this. And then people complain, well, my knife's all fucked up. It's a maker's fault. No, it's 100% your fault. Buy a fucking fidget spinner or something, or some other knife you can fidget with, like a gravity knife or a switchblade. They're meant for that. Get a fidget spinner. Get something that you can fidget with. I get it. Like I have a pin that I mess around. I have a bolt action pin. It doesn't even have ink. It doesn't even have ink in it. I just use it to fidget with. But that's what causes it. So knives weren't meant to be flipped as many times as most people do. And then they get upset and they send it back to the maker. And the maker's like, why am I fixing something that 100% you did? That's why Chris Reeves always told people, don't thumb flip your knives, because fixing that is not free. So it could be years. I only have had one knife develop lock rock that I had to do, and that was that NTAC. And it's because I absolutely used that knife that much. It got a lot of super hard use. So, you know, you can prevent it just by not fidgeting with a knife. Like, you got to figure some of these guys are buying $600-700 knives and they just flip. Oh, it's got lock rock. Yeah, because you're a fucking idiot. I've said it a bunch of times. So back to why double stop pins are brilliant. I have this and I think one other knife that has a double stop pin. And the reason it's brilliant is because instead of having a pin that controls open and closed, you have a pin, because your closed position is not absorbing much. Like, it's literally just that. Like, most people are going to close their knife and they're going to do that. Like, that much force. Way less force on that than that. So the fact that this has two stop pins kind of takes one problem out of the mix. So you have a set stop pin that controls your closed position. And you have a set stop pin that controls your open position. Now, if your lockup is fine, you don't have a problem with lockup, then why would you change that position? So you leave the small stop pin where it's at, exactly the same. And then you oversize the other stop pin that controls the open position, and then you don't have to worry about it. So now your lockup has been rectified. Wrecked him, damn near killed him. Your lockup has been rectified. You no longer have play this way. There's no more gap in between here. And you no longer have to do anything. Once you change out that pin, it absolutely is going to fix that, and then you don't have to worry about your closed position because it has its own separate set control for that. Two controls for two different operations is always better than one for both. Two is one is none. So, doobie daggers. Is there any locking mechanism where this is not an issue? No. I can't think of one. Fixed blade. Fixed blades never get lock rock. I mean, you could say an out the front auto, but they still, a lot of times, there's some play in that. Let me see, there's some play in that. Now, does it bother me? No, because all out the fronts that I've ever had handled, except for the deadlock, have a little bit of play. So, I mean, even, I'm going to tell you right now, even this one that I like so much, the rocker lock, it's going to eventually develop a little bit where that blade, see how that blade snaps in there? It's going to slam into that, and it's going to cause a little bit of gap to form. This one, I don't think it's going to ever be as bad, but I will show you. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. Can you guys see at the lip of, let me see here, can I get it in? At the lip of that, where you can see like there's a little burr that has formed up at it. That's what's going to eventually lead to that. Because what that's going to happen is that's going to bend, that's going to deform a little bit each way. And I mean, that's because this thing gets used a lot. I never figured that this knife would have as much use as it does. I just kind of thought it would be something I would hold on to, and then I just wouldn't, do anything with it. But there are I can't think of a lock except maybe the triad lock. I would say the triad lock maybe the shark lock. Those might, but I mean, axis locks will develop it over time. Not anywhere near as quickly, but axis locks will as well. I think the axis lock, triad lock, the shark lock, I think those are pretty much going to be your ones that are pretty exempt from it. Not necessarily completely exempt, but especially like the axis lock where people are taking attention off the lock and then flipping it and then letting it forward. Ethan, just because you have a ceramic ball interface, you still have got a steel lock face on your knife. It's going to start to develop a little bit of play. And like I said, that ball, while it's big and it's going to do pretty well, the ball isn't so much the issue. It's the stop pin. Slamming into the stop pin. Slamming into the stop pin. Now, as long as you're not flicking your knives, you're fine. But you know what else causes this and will expedite this and speed it up? And I swear to God, there's been times I almost punch people in the face for it. Don't fucking wrist flick your knives. You don't need that. This knife, that's how you open it. This knife, that's how you open it. This knife, that's how you open it. I don't own a knife that requires a wrist flick. If you wrist flick your knives, you deserve to be drug out back and beat with a rubber hose. If you wrist flick my knives, there's a good chance I'm going to tell you, put my shit down and don't fucking touch it again. I mean, that's a $1,200 knife. Don't fuck my shit up, right? If you want to wrist flick your knives, go ahead, but don't complain when you get like, oh, my knife's got lock rock. I've only had it for 3 weeks. Yeah, you did it. It's your fault. Don't blame the maker. That's the other thing. If your knife gets, if you know that you're somebody that fidgets with your knife, if you know that you're somebody that sits and fidgets with your knife and your knife develops lock rock, don't blame anyone. There's no one to blame. You know who you should blame? Go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and say to yourself, I did this. I'm an idiot. Slow roll, I mean? Let's put it this way. I have had this Sebenza since 2015. And there's not even an inkling of blade play. I see it, Aiden. I'll get to it in a second. Not even an inkling. If you slow roll your knife like that, you're not going to have an issue. Like forever. It would take forever. And the other thing too, you can rotate. Like just because you developed a little bit of lock rock doesn't mean that you have to immediately. You don't immediately have to. There we go. Don't yap at Hater Nation. You don't have to necessarily immediately think that you need to put an oversized stop pin in. What you can do is, one of the easiest way to do it is take a look at the knife and look at the wear pattern on the stop pin and the blade. Make sure that you've got it all cleaned out. Take the stop pin and rotate it past the area where the blade is striking. Just rotate it a little bit, then crank it, put it back in that rotated position. And what should happen is now you've got a flatter saw. Every time I take any of my knives apart, I rotate the stop pin. I will mark the knife with a little fucking assholes. I'll mark it with a little line of magic marker and line it up, and I'll put it there. And then when I take it apart the next time, I make sure I clean off the stop pin and I remark it so that when I okay, this is where I want to put it, so that when I put it back together after I clean the knife up, I put it back where I want it. You know what I'm saying? Line it up. And then the next time you take it apart, clean it off, roll it over a little bit, and then mark it again so that like when you first take it apart, that way you don't forget. But yeah, Most Striders have lock stick. Mine is great access at Detent Lash. What about external stop pins? So external stop pins are a different animal. So what Mick does, what he used to do, which is why I don't fidget with this at all. Because I love this knife and I don't want to wear it out. I don't think I have to worry too much. But you would basically get a cover for that. Now those external stop pins don't really engage anything in this position. What does all of it on this one is the lock bar itself. And then that little area right there. See that little area right there? That touches the inside of the backspacer. So where your backspacer comes back, it touches right here. That's your stop. So it's a lot harder to wear that. But external stop pins, if you get lock rock, the only thing you can do is Mick used to sell oversized external stop pins. Those aren't thumb studs on this one. Those are stop pins. They engage right there. That's your stop pins. I don't think you would ever have to worry about it. But this is kind of genius too. It kind of resolves that problem. That area of the knife right there where it's shiny, where there's no longer any red ceramic because it just has been cleaned off by slamming into the backspacer. Absolutely. Well, I wish I had another camera to show you. There's a shiny. Can you see the shiny spot? Nah, you can't see it. Inside that backspacer, there's a spot that kicks up, and that's what it engages. So that's its internal stop. So this is kind of like a double stop pin. So you really don't have too much concern on that. Mick does have some other ways that he does the internal, but on this one, because this is a Mick Strider collab, this is a collaboration between Anthony Marfione and Mick Strider. It definitely is like that. So, but what I was saying is like rotating your stop pin. I can't wait. They're moving. I can't wait. My Olight affiliate link is struck through. I don't know what's going on. I think they kicked me from their affiliate program. I don't think my affiliate link works, so don't use that affiliate link. I'll try and get a new one. But I mean, you can try it. If it works, that's fine. If not, fuck it. I don't care. But that's one of the things that you can do. Rotate your stop pin a little bit. See if that fixes the issue. Because a lot of times the stop pin is softer than the blade, and that's what you want. You want the soft pin, you want that stop pin to give way before your blade does. And you could probably, with a lot of knives, just put the same size stop pin back in, because a lot of times the stop pin is what deforms. So if you rotate your stop pin and lock rock goes away, reach out to the company, say, hey, can I get an extra stop pin? They may ask you to have them tell you what size it is. Because there is this fact of the matter, companies have multiple size stop pins. You can't just say, hey, I need a new stop pin for a Microtech DOC. Because they're going to go, okay, we need to know the dimensions. Because when they grind that lock bar interface, they have to play with that a little bit. So there's a little bit of variance. You'll have different size stop pins. On the assembly line, they'll just drop a stop pin in, see if it works. No lock rock. Then if you have lock rock, they just drop the next size in, and then they fix your detent. See what I'm saying? So you're going to have to, I mean, it's not just like, hey, I need a new stop pin. I reached out to when I got a new stop pin for this because it had a tiny bit, and I fixed it simply by adding a little bit of lock bar tension. It was a little soft to begin with for me. I reached out to John, and I said, hey, actually, it was Eric. I reached out to Eric. I was like, hey, I need a larger stop pin for my Norseman. They're like, well, just tell us what size is in it now. And we'll send you several that are a little bit bigger. And you just pick the one that gets rid of it. You should be fine. I was like, oh, okay. So not all companies, I mean, not all stop pins are going to be the same. Like, you're going to reach out to the companies like, hey, I need a new stop pin. And they're like, all right, we need to know the diameter. And they're like, you're going to be like, how do I know it? I'm going to tell you. Get a set of calipers and measure it. So, you're going to need one. You're going to need a set that's pretty accurate. Like, I would advise a micrometer, especially if you're dealing with somebody like John Grimsmo or anybody at Heretic, they're going to know the exact Princeton over at Prince Customs. If in the case of Prince Customs, I would just send it to him. Like, I don't know how his stop pins work on the on those, but yeah, I definitely would. That's who I need to read. I haven't talked to Princeton in forever. I need to get him on a live feed. But yeah, there's a couple ways to take care of it, but that's what I was trying to get across. Look, it took 45 minutes. Like, if I had sat down and done a video, like a 15-minute video is never going to be enough to explain to everyone. But the fact is, like, I don't personally care if you call me a fucking idiot. I have a wife. I'm used to it. I was in the military for my entire adult life and then worked for the government after. I'm not unaccustomed to be called a fucking idiot. When I get upset is when you say something in the comments section and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And you make me sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. And then other people see that and are like, oh, well, maybe Mike doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, it's one of those things like, well, like, I don't want to be an asshole in the comment section. I mean, I want to be an asshole in the comment section, but it doesn't do me any good to be an asshole in the comment section because then it just makes me look like an asshole. But the fact is, how would I resolve Detent Lash? It's just a thing with knives. I don't own a knife that doesn't have some slight amount of Detent Lash. Even that one that you couldn't see, I could still feel like tiny rattle. Flipper knives are going to have Detent Lash. If you don't want Detent Lash, get a rocker lock. There's no Detent Lash because there's no detent. Detent Lash is a thing with flipper knives, and it has been from jump. There are some knives that have less of it, but pretty much every flipper knife is going to have some Detent Lash, and it's going to have it get worse over time. Now, if you get a knife that has Detent Lash from jump and it's like bad, you're like, I shouldn't have bought this. Then yeah, maybe you should reach out and they can try and take a look at it. The only real way to do it is to have happy haptics. I bet if you were to really feel it and play with it, you could feel a slight little wiggle. You'd feel a slight little wobble of that post inside there. There can't be none. There cannot be none because there has to be enough play around that pin for it to go in without the friction of coming back out that would cause it to basically be press fit. There's no way it doesn't have even a slight bit. Like, it might just be for lack of a better word, a cunt hair, like a really fine blonde one, not a thick Mediterranean one, of play around that. There has to be enough gap for that pin for that post to fall in and come back out without getting completely jammed in there. Press fit. It's the only way. So while it might not be all that perceptible, it's still there. It's just the way it has to work. So at any rate, I mean, it's very, very light. But it has some, and it's only going to get more over time. Like, I guarantee I could probably reach out to John and say, hey, can I send this back? And maybe you guys change the stop. But the only thing you can do for Detent Lash would be to put a larger detent ball in. The problem is, once you push a detent ball in titanium, it galls around it, and you're going to have a harder time getting another one in and have it stay. I disagreed with Polly's texting me. Can't figure out why his videos don't get any views. And I was like, well, maybe stop showing your fucking ugly face in it. That's what I should tell it. No, I haven't. And I wouldn't, because what I'm saying is that's not going to resolve your issue. A worn out lock bar insert is no different than a titanium lock bar face that has worn. The only way to resolve that is not change out your lock bar insert, because that lock bar insert was married to that knife. Like, not all lock bars, I can tell you this because I watched the boys at Fair and Forge build knives. That lock bar insert is not, they're not all exactly the same. Just like stop pins. You find the one that fits that knife best. And if you ground that radius, you got to find one that fits that. So inserting a new lock bar insert into a knife 9 times out of 10 is not going to be the way to go. I will say I don't like having the detent ball in the steel lock bar insert, unless it's like a rolling detent. Well, the boys at Fair and Forge do it that way. It's in the lock bar insert. It's screwed in there. And the reason I don't like it is 100% because titanium is pretty malleable and it's like silly putty, but it likes to grip things. It likes to grip things and hold on to them. It likes to gall onto things. And so when you force that ball into the titanium, it's sticky and it holds it. But steel on ceramic or steel on steel, it's you just push it out of the way, and then that ball's sitting there. There's not like a lip or anything, and it just will pop back out. I've had numerous detent balls come out, and I've tried to press them back in, and it just never works out. And so what I've done is I've sent them back, and I've gotten new lock bar inserts, but the same thing. Then I get lock stick and things like that, and so you have to play with it. Now, being a knife maker and learning a lot from Chris and Elliot, I know how to just gently kiss that lock bar insert on a Scotch-Brite wheel to clean it up a little bit, to get rid of some of those burrs and things like that, maybe resize it a little bit. But the average person at home is not going to be able to do that. And when someone goes onto the chat and says, well, why couldn't you just, if you got lock rock, you just file a little bit of material off the lock bar insert? And I'm like, if you already have play because there's a gap, what makes you think removing more material is going to solve that? You have to add material somewhere. So there, but no, I've never had to replace a steel lock bar insert because of long-term use. I have had to replace a steel lock bar insert because the detent ball came unseated. So yeah. Oh, I wanted to throw a shout out. Boy, this has not been a very profitable live feed. What am I doing here? Let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Guys, I don't want to sound like I'm e-begging, but I do want to say, like, of all the channels, the knife channels that I've seen, I get the fewest fucking super chats. I do. I get the fewest. I think we had 2. I don't know if you guys know this, just so you know. This isn't me e-begging. I just want to lay this out because I just saw a video about like YouTube. People are complaining, well, these guys get super chats in their videos and they're getting paid for talking about stuff. Yeah. The live feeds, we don't make any money. We basically do these for free. And I don't have a problem with that. I like it. But I just want to say, if you want to support the channel, if you enjoy the content, think about joining the memberships. Or think about supporting through super chats. Or simply share the content. I looked at how many times my videos get shared. You guys do not share my videos. So, not trying to scold you, and I'm not trying to like guilt you into doing something. I just want you to keep that in mind. If you like content that YouTube creators do, support them. I drop super chats in every one of Jared's videos. I drop super chats in every one of Cole's videos I watch. I drop super chats in every video I watch that the quartering, the live feeds. I drop super chats in every fucking channel's videos that I watch. I dropped a super chat in Eat More Vegans live feed today. If I'm watching a live feed and I'm enjoying it, I throw up a super chat. I'm not saying that you guys have to, and I'm not begging you to, and I don't want you guys like, hey, fucking Mike's e-begging. Just letting you guys know. That's how it works. Like, none of this is free. I'm running lights that I bought. I'm running microphone that was given to me. I'm running electricity. None of it's free. So, support the channel. I know times are tight. I felt the pinch at the fucking gas pump today. But there's a lot of creators that just don't get any support. I appreciate the support I get, which leads me to what I was going to tell you guys. This is fun. You guys ready for this? The only birthday present I got on my birthday Tuesday. Well, I can't say anything. My wife and kid know. I told them not to buy anything. If I want something for my birthday, I'd much rather they just told me, hey, that's not what I want. Will, you already pay. Will's already a paying member. But Thank you, sir. And Jared and I do it as well in, like, I do it in Jared's videos to try and get people to do it. Jared does it in my videos to try and entice people to do it. We understand how that works. Like, if you watch, I do like 99 cents. It's not like I'm throwing out a ton of money into Jared's chat, but it adds up. Like, I give him like $4 or $5. I gave him like $20 the one time. But I do have paying members, and I have a bunch of them. Most of them, I have to admit, like, this is the other thing. I feel kind of conflicted about this. Beard of Doom basically gave out a ton of free memberships, and I appreciate it, because then people see you, like, we have fun in the Gilded server and stuff like that. But basically, one of my paying members paid for 20 other people to become paying members, which I think is kind of unfair to him. So if you got gifted a membership and you're enjoying like the Gilded server, and I don't get a chance to do as many of them, but I do some exclusive content videos for the paying members. And I did the Members Monday live feed. Knew I wasn't gonna make any money on it. I was fine with that. That was for them. But Winston Cobretti is a paying member, and Winston has given me so many knives. I've lost track of it. I have to do a video just calling it out. But Winston sent me 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes of the coffee pods for the Keurig, the Black Death coffee. I forgot I had coffee here. He sent me 2 of the ones he knows I like. He sent me a medium roast and an espresso roast. So I have 2 of the dark roast, which he knows I like. The espresso roast one, and then he also sent me a medium roast one. But with that, he sent me a couple of shirts. So I have a Lieutenant Dan American All-Star shirt, which I like, which is cool. He sent me, and this is I don't know where he gets, this company is like a veteran company. It's called Stay Zero. He sent me a Stay Zero flannel, long sleeve flannel, which is really cool looking, but man, it's 90 degrees. But the one that I truly fell in love with when he sent it to me, where's everyone going? Yeah, hey guys, 32 people watching, only 29 likes. I guarantee that a lot of those likes were when people were here earlier. He sent me another shirt, and I saw the front, and I was like, wow, that looks like pirate-esque, right? One-Eyed Willie's, Goondocks Rum, Lighthouse Lounge. It's a Goonies t-shirt. If you guys know me, I love the Goonies. Oh, I wanted to show you guys something. So, we hit 9,000. Will, thank you again. I appreciate it. Like, that was not directed at the paying members. Paying members already do a lot, especially the Beard of Doom. Like, I can't thank that dude enough. That is legendary, the things he's done for the channel, and not just mine. He did it in Cole's. He did it mine. But what I wanted to show you guys was, I'll bring this up. My internet is really, really laggy today. Wow, I don't know what the hell happened there. I wanted to show you guys this because if you remember, just a couple days ago, we hit 9,000, right? So that was that Monday? I believe it was Monday. And then today, I happened to look. I think whatever day. No, it was over the weekend. Today I looked and we hit 9,134. But the thing is, I don't know how far behind that is because if you guys remember, channel got hacked and I lost access to the channel for a while. Is there a fire nearby? Yeah, no, there's a fire nearby. Everything smells like smoke. I can't breathe. It's still 83 degrees out here. It was like 86 when I first turned on the live feed and everything. But yeah, we hit 9,134 subscribers as of today. It's fluctuated too, and I've seen like there's some weird stuff in my analytics because, like I said, channel got hacked. I had to do the recovery and all that, and I actually did lose some videos. So I did lose. No, I have not. Ethan, I have not seen it. But yeah, I lost. I think if I looked at it, there was like 10 of my videos. So in case you guys don't know what happened, I talked about it. Somebody hacked my channel. I lost access. It was pretty easy to recover because it's just me, Nico, and Matt that had access. And when I tried to when I opened up my channel, it wasn't my channel. So I was still logged in. So I just opened it up and I was like, that's not my channel. I was like, maybe there's a glitch, but like my channel was open. And so when I opened the tab, there was a live feed playing of what looked, I don't know, it looked like a TED Talk or something. And then there was a lot of my videos, like there was a whole bunch of stuff that was changing. It said there was a mass import going on and there was a mass deletion. That's what it was. There was a mass deletion going on. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this isn't my channel. And I logged out and I was like, let me log out and log back in. So you guys know how it works. I completely logged out. I signed out. I have to sign back in through Google. And I was like, all right, so I know my Google email and I know my Google password. And so I went in and I changed my passwords pretty regularly. I worked counterterrorism, counter surveillance. I did a lot of this stuff like intrusion prevention, things like that. So I know that I have to change my password pretty regularly. So about every 2-3 months, I change all my passwords. So I tried to log in and it wouldn't let me in. It said that my username and password were incorrect. And I was like, that's impossible. So I tried it for my phone. It said my username and password incorrect. So I typed in, I went to the forgot my password and it asked me if I wanted to use, because I have another email account that I use as a recovery. I recommend this highly. Set yourself a recovery account. Pick one email account that your other email accounts feed to, or your other accounts on other things feed to, so that you can recover that account. If your email account for recovery is the account that got hacked, you're never going to get back in. So I went and I said, I went in and I clicked on it, but I forgot my password. It says, do you want a link to your channel? Do you want a link to change your password sent to your email? And I was like, yeah, the recovery email, which is a separate email account. I'll address this in a moment, Mark. Okay, I'll do that. Do you think the new Sabenza 31 and ceramic ball detent lock interface, there could possibly be an event the ceramic ball fracturing, cracking with enough use? Love the channel. Mark, I really don't. And by the way, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. I really don't think there is, because have you ever watched like the ceramic balls that they try to destroy on like the hydraulic press channel and the steel? They're really, really strong. I would say that you'd be more inclined to crack it, not from extended use. I would say impact, like dropping the knife, could cause that. Absolutely could cause it. I've cracked a ceramic detent ball by dropping it, but just in use, I don't think so. So at any rate, what I was saying was, no, I didn't work ComSec. I worked counterterrorism, counter surveillance, but part of it was PKI and making sure, since I had to know it, because I had to be able to classify documents. So, and I had to know how it worked. When I worked, big one was when I worked for Lockheed Martin, I was responsible for all the PKI certificates and the PKI tokens and all that. And I learned how that worked and I learned why you do it, things like that. But at any rate, it's not ComSec. We did a lot of ComSec because, our office, we had a sipper room and we had TSSCI off site and stuff like that. So I did at one point have TSSCI, which is above top. So that's top secret. So TS top secret, SCI secret compartmentalized is one of those things that's above top secret. It's what they're talking about with President Trump in the thing that he had documents that they say were still TSSCI, and I have my doubts that anything like that ever left the possession of the White House. But at any rate, what I was saying was, so I had that recovery email account. I definitely recommend it because it's the only reason that I was able to get in. So I got a password change, and I changed my password to not just my YouTube email account, but also the recovery email account. That way they couldn't backdoor it. And then I had Nico verify he still had access because I took him off while I was doing these changes. I took him off the access, took Matt off the access, then I re-added them just to make sure that there was no users that could log in while I was doing this except for myself. So that was the first step. Now I've recovered my channel, but it still wasn't the same. So if you're a content creator, you will see in your, I can't show you because you'd be able to see my my full analytics, and I can't show you. But if you're a YouTube content creator and you have problems, there is a chat tab now on your YouTube studio. And so I went there, I chatted, and I was like, I am 100% sure my channel got hacked. And I sent them all the info, and I sent them a screenshot of what my channel used to look like, and then a screenshot of my channel looked like now. And I showed them, I was like, can we stop this mass deletion? And they were like, we need a contact info because apparently it's been happening a lot. And I never thought that I would get any support from YouTube. And I bitch about YouTube all the time. All content creators bitch about YouTube all the time. But YouTube actually responded. I was going to send a text or send a tweet with the YouTube team included. But I got a response. Now, we need a phone number to contact you. Somebody's going to call you. And I didn't get like full-time one-on-one support, but they told me, I was like, these are the things we're going to have to do, and these are the things you have to do. They walked me through things we did. We stopped the mass deletion of, they were trying to delete like 300 of my videos. They only got 10. And I went and looked at the videos that were on the list that were being deleted. The 10 we couldn't stop because they were pretty much already deleted. They were some bullshit videos anyway. So, but I did lose 10 videos, which is better than losing 300, which some of those 300 were some of my newer videos that actually do make money. And so I was like, I can complain a lot about YouTube's policies, and I can complain a lot about things that YouTube does and says, and the inequalities that happen with smaller channels not getting anything. But the response that I got as a small channel with less than 10,000 subscribers, I thought was really good. Mark, why do channels do this? Is it for fun? No. Why do hackers do it? No, they have a bot, and they try to find, and they crack on a channel. So what happens is I was able to catch it. We figured that my channel had only been down for maybe 30 minutes to an hour when I caught it. But sometimes, like on a Friday, like these bigger channels, like they have employees and stuff like that. But sometimes they leave on Friday and they don't come back till Monday, and nobody's looked at the status of the channel. And they come in Monday and their channel's gone. Well, what happens is they had put, they basically had turned my channel into like a shopping channel. So you guys know that I don't have Shop YouTube on any of my stuff. There was a Shop YouTube site. There was all kinds of stuff that was across the bottom bar. What they do is they do that, and everybody's like, well, they're not making money on your views. That's not what it's about. It's about making money on sales. And so they basically kidnap your channel, and they've got immediately, in my case, 9,100 subs that they don't have to work for. In bigger channels, sometimes it's 20, 30, 150, 200,000 subscribers, sometimes 500,000. So basically, for however long that channel was hijacked, they've got access to all those subscribers and are just pushing shit to them, and people will fall for it and they'll buy it. Like, oh, well, something's changed. Let me check this out. And then they're going to these shopping sites and they get that revenue. So that's why they do it. And I mean, I was lucky enough that now I still have had problems. Last night I couldn't upload. Yesterday I couldn't upload, and it let me. Monday I couldn't upload, but I already had a video scheduled for Monday. I was lucky enough I could live feed. I would not have been able to live feed on Tuesday. Tuesday was pretty much a dead day, but I was able to get a video up. So tomorrow's video is not up yet. I'm planning on uploading that when we finish here. I sent Jared an invite, and I think that dirty, stinky bastard just didn't come, or he didn't see it. So members info isn't compromised, right? No, that's separate. Like that's a separate tab. You guys, okay, so let me explain this too, because I've had people like, well, I don't want to do YouTube. Can I become one of your members by sending you a check? Or can I just give you money and then I can be one of your members if I PayPal you? And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. That's separate from my channel. I have nothing to do with that. Like you guys click on that link, I have nothing to do with it. I just see how many members I have and I can see their names so that I can like generate things like the scrolling you guys see at the end of the videos, which only 30% of people watch all the way till. So that, you know, I don't control that. It's not like I'm like, hey, I can add you to the membership and add you to all that. Now, I mean, if you paid me the equivalent to it, could I add you to the Gilded server? Yeah, but then that's a pain because then I have to keep track. Did you pay for this month? Did you pay for next month? Did you pay for last month? You know, it's simply easier. Like with my, when I had a Patreon. I had a Patreon for a long time and it just never worked out. Like they would take down content that I tried to put up for the patrons. I tried to do it on multiple tiers and do stuff for different people. And every time I would try to do it, they're like, oh, you can't generate that content. You can't put that content here. I had to fight with them about weapons and stuff. I don't know how Jared does it. Not in the mood for Polly. Just take care of that right now. I wasn't joking earlier. I'm not in the mood for you, Polly. But it's he's gonna start blowing me up. Yeah. So yeah, it now I forgot what I was gonna say. God damn it. It's frustrating. What I was getting at. It's frustrating with the Patreon thing because I liked having the Patreon. I liked having something that was completely separate of YouTube, which is why I like the Gilded server. So if you guys don't know, the paying members have access to a Gilded server. I gave Jared access to it. I gave Cole access to it. They don't ever use it. But I was gonna say ahoy, ahoy, hoy. So yeah, it's become more and more common for people to get hacked, but you don't have to worry about it because, like I said, I don't control anything to go with the members, because like literally that's separate on you. That's a YouTube thing. YouTube makes like I only get 70%. Like when you guys see like when Jared dropped that $140 super chat, I didn't get $140 of that. I didn't get the $70 that popped up before that. I didn't get the $10. I get. If you send me $10, I get 7. They keep 3. YouTube does definitely take a cut. Like everybody's like, well, you know, these super chats, these guys are making money. I don't know why YouTube lets them because YouTube makes money too. May you look at the new Microtech OTF. I don't want to. I don't want to look at something that's going to be ugly. I'm in a better mood than I was. Yeah, Cole's been on once or twice, but that's about it. Like, I keep trying to get him on. I can't keep trying to come on live. He doesn't. Polly wants to know why his shorts do good and none of his other videos do, and I'm going to have to address that one off-site. You guys will see that I have cut back on the shorts. I was informed by a couple people of something. Shorts can be detrimental to your channel, and I've seen it. I actually see more valuable interaction on the channel now that I've cut shorts back to like maybe 1 a week. I'll tell you what, Ethan, I'll look at this fucking Gilded server thing you sent. What is this, Ethan? Is this a, oh, that's your Strider. Where's your, I don't see anything about the Microtech OTF. I don't see it. Did you send a picture? Because I'm not gonna try and look it up. I don't have my keyboard. I don't have my mouse. Just not in the mood to do it. What is this? Yep, I understand. My few claims to fame were written for the old security-focused site and saving a university from Melissa floods. I don't know what we're talking about. So, yeah, I thought you said you sent a picture of it. So, yeah, have you ever looked at Kudman knives? Let me see here. I'm not doing a fucking TikTok channel. I deleted TikTok off my phone. I don't need them knowing everything I fucking do. It's bad enough that Google now has been adding these. Have you guys searched on Google lately? Just all of a sudden out of nowhere, I go on Google and I'm looking for, like, I want to look for a knife company and I want to look for, and it's like plus camping, plus this, plus this, plus this. And I got to scroll all the way to the left to find results that I want that aren't shit that Google thinks I want. I'm like, no, motherfucker, I don't want that. Kudman knives. I have not. What is this? Let me see. Have you ever looked at Kudman knives? Shorts? Yeah, no. Start a TikTok if you want to do shorts. Having said that, I'm guilty of posting shorts earlier on. I post a short, but typically there's a reason for it. Where, Ethan? Is it in knife chat? Oh, that's fucking hideous. No, it doesn't matter. I just use that as an example. I use that as an example because everything I type in, it doesn't matter what I'm typing in. It comes up with all these suggested, like I was typing in tofu because I wanted to send an image of tofu, just a picture of it, to Al over at Eat More Vegans Barbecue. And Al's a good dude. He did a live feed. They gave away a ton of stuff. He had Dale Earnhardt's nephew on. I can't remember his name. Jason Earnhardt, something like that. Jacob Earnhardt, something like that. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s cousin. He's also a NASCAR driver. But they were giving away a bunch of knives and knife blocks and stuff like that. And I was on there. But he did a thing where he talked about tofu and he cut it all up and he put it on his fire for his barbecue. And I was like, that's funny. And I was going to send him a bunch of pictures of tofu. And so I typed in tofu and hit enter. And I just was expecting to see search, like all results, and then images. And then it comes up plus nutritional value, plus ingredients, plus bean curd, plus this, plus this, plus this. I have them turned off. I did turn them off. They are all turned off. It's absolutely all turned off. And still, I got those little pluses, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So I changed my preferred browser to Brave, which was like, so Brave, I don't know if you guys know this. Brave is a search engine that doesn't, you know how when you go to like Google and you search something, you get the results that companies, you get the results from websites that have paid Google the most. Like if you search up a news story, you're never going to get something that comes up from like an independent reporting source. You're going to get the big ones. You're going to get MSNBC, NBC, CNN, a couple others, and then maybe Fox News. But if you want independent reporting that you think that may or may not be less biased, you know, let's just put it that way. You're not going to see those. Like you got to scroll down like 4 or 5 pages. So I don't want that. I want the story. I don't want a story that is similar with, you know, oh, well, this is close enough. This is what you're going to get. So I switched to Brave, which is what DuckDuckGo used to be before they caved and turned into a piece of shit, just like Google. Sorry, Google, you're a piece of shit. You're a pandering piece of shit. So, yeah, I'm not getting monetized on this. Guys, please donate. I guarantee I have pissed off the overlords at Google. But yeah, I don't want suggestive searches. I want to search what I'm looking for, and I want you to give it to me. That's what a fucking search engine is for. It's not for you to prioritize what you think I should see. So I just switched. I just switched my Google to Brave, and Brave is actually a really good search engine. JB Knife Collector says, I'll stick with my Heretic and Guardian Tactical OTFs. Needs that Microtech is fugly. It is not attractive. I was going to put it up, but fuck Bing. Bing is the same thing. Bing is the same thing. Bing, Chrome, because it's just Google. Any of your other searches, I don't think, is Yahoo even still around? But that's what you get. And so I switched to Brave, which is a seamless change. And if I need to use Google, I will. I don't use Wikipedia anymore because I've seen stuff in Wikipedia that I know for a fact growing up that I saw in person. And I'm like, that's absolutely not true. Events that I was present for, you see it on Wikipedia. You're like, that's not true. So I just like, I used to use DuckDuckGo, and then DuckDuckGo started to bend the knee to pressuring and pandering to not as I care. I mean, it's a business strategy, but like if I want to search something, I don't want my search results catered to the political leanings of anyone. I just want the information. I want the information to let me make my own decision, which is why I like the Coffee Brand Coffee. Has nothing to do with that I don't agree with the politics of companies. But I also don't like the idea that company is donating that money to stuff that does not inherently make the product I'm buying from that better. So their prices go up, but their product stays the same. Well, whatever it is, CPM, it still is fine. I don't care. Browser, search engine, it still is giving me the information I want. Semantics at this point. Google is a browser. Chrome is a browser. It still uses a different interface and algorithm to give me the results, and I like it better. But at any rate, what I was saying, not to be dismissive. I don't want you to think I'm being dismissive. I'm in one of those moods today. I think it's because San Diego is burning down. It's still well above 80 degrees in my studio, and I can't breathe because everything smells like a campfire. And it's literally, I don't know. I don't think you guys can see it. It's smoky in the house. It's smoky in the garage. So, but at any rate, back to what I was saying was, if a company is raising their prices continually, but they're not throwing that money back into the product and they're throwing it into something else, like if a company wants to support something, that's fine. I just don't want to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, well, you're not paying for it. I'm like, well, you raised the prices. We're paying for it. I was like, no, you're paying for it, but you're increasing your prices to offset the cost. The company's not going to take a loss for these things that they're doing. So that's why I like the Coffee Brand Coffee, because Jeremy at the Courting will tell you has not taken a paycheck from Coffee Brand Coffee. The money that goes back into it goes into the employees. It goes back into, like, he was giving money away in orders, and it goes into more products and better products, which is something I can support. It has nothing to do with politics. I just like to support companies that are going to continually improve. Like, if I never hear about a company's politics ever, and I know that they're not donating anything except taking care of their employees and improving their product and expanding and getting better, that's fine. I'm fine with that. So that's just my thing. So it goes back to the search. I don't want to read what you think I should read. I want to read what I'm looking for, which is why I like Brave. That's why I used to like DuckDuckGo. So what was this? There are a ton of other added benefits, like certain blockchain companies and cryptocurrencies that have integrated already. Are you talking about with Brave? Brave also gives points, money, and you can donate that. Yeah, I heard. Holy hell, what? Grunge? Holy hell, what? I will say, I love that Coffee Brand Coffee. It's amazing. I have to admit, this Black Death coffee, or the Death Wish coffee, I'm sorry, the Death Wish coffee, it's pretty good. It actually is, I think they are the best coffee pods I've had. Before you guys ask, yes, that's the same cup of coffee I started drinking an hour and 24 minutes ago when we did this video. It's smoky in the garage, that's why. It's smoky in the garage because there's a fire like 10 miles down the road. Oh, so I was looking at where it was at. Well, hot hell too, because it's still well above 80. I think it has not gotten, it's still 83. Look, yeah, it's 83 still out here. There's a fire. There's a wildfire over at the Hamul area. And so we got a bunch of warnings and stuff like that, that there was, pardon me, that there's a fire. But they're evacuating people, and they evacuated the Hamul Casino and buffet and everything out there. It's on the other side of the reservoir. So where we're at, it's in the same place the big fire that happened when my daughter was born back in 2007. There was a huge fire out near Hamul and all that. And it literally, there was ash falling out of the sky. I haven't seen any of that yet, but I'm pretty sure I'll see some on the car cover tomorrow. But it's in that same area, and we lived down in this area before when that happened. This is the third place we've lived in San Diego, and it doesn't usually come this direction because it has to cross the Sweetwater Reservoir. So we're pretty protected. So, but that doesn't mean like I can't breathe. My eyes burn because there is literally smoke in the air. Like I don't know if you guys saw it. I posted up on the community tab. There was a enough smoke around that the sun. I was gonna put up. That's not a filter. That's smoke. So what's Brad say? You might be interested in an Australian company, Killer Coffee Company, if you like robust, strong flavored coffee. Here's the thing. That Death Wish coffee, for as like the world's strongest coffee, it's not that bitter. It's a pretty good all around. Even the dark roast. He sent me medium roast, espresso roast, and dark roast. I know I like the dark roast. The medium roast was almost too light. The espresso roast is a little bit bitter, but the dark roast is really good. And for as much as I say it's the strongest, it's not bitter. It's not robust. It's just got a good flavor. It's what I like. It's what I like in the coffee brand coffee medium roast. It's really a good flavorful coffee. I was going to ask about the smoke. I have a weird liking for the smell of bushfire smoke. Obviously, very eucalyptus scent. We don't have. I mean, we have a lot of. There is a lot. There's a ton of eucalyptus out here. Matter of fact, when it's really windy and it's really hot, there's eucalyptus trees up here, and you can smell it. I love the smell of eucalyptus. But yeah, that's pretty much the Lock Rock thing. I was just not, like I said, not upset. People are calling me a fucking idiot. Like I said, Polly calls me a fucking idiot all the time, and I'm like, people call me an idiot all the time. I'm used to it, but it was the he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, I do. I absolutely do. Because, like, considering I'm friends with a lot of knife makers, have made knives myself, repaired knives, things like that. What is this? No Kopitar lock? I don't even know what that is, CPM. I have no idea what this is. What is the smallest amount of lockup you have seen where you feel confident in the lock being safe? To be honest with you, I have a lot of knives that don't even have locks. One of my favorite knives that probably gets some of the most pocket time is this, and it doesn't even have a lock. If you're using your knife properly, if the lock at least locks up, you're pretty good. As long as, okay, here's my test. As long as it locks up, and this is a bad example because it's a rocker lock, but I don't have my own lock bars. As long as when you grab it like this and you put a fair amount of tension this direction, it doesn't slip off, you're good. Because I don't know anyone that uses their knife like this. Because if you do, you just need to box them all up and send them to me. Because using the... Oh, I know what you're talking about. The one that I have tried that. I'm not going to say I'm a coffee snob, but I also am going to say that I'm not going to say I'm not going to say I just drink shit coffee, but I'm also going to say I'm not a coffee snob. That's the way I should word it. I like good coffee. I've tried it. I don't see that it is that much. Don't get me wrong, it was good. But I mean, I'm also the guy that pours a cup of coffee and puts some creamer in it and doesn't care. Like literally over an hour and a half old coffee, I'm still drinking it. I'm not like, it doesn't have to be good coffee. It doesn't have to be hot coffee. It's just got to be at least, it doesn't have to be superior coffee, I should say. And it doesn't have to be hot. It just has to be good, and it has to be coffee. But I have tried it. I know what you mean. It's kind of got a fruity taste to it. It's got a more, I don't know what you want to call it. I just thought it was okay. I was like, how much is it? How much did you just say you paid for that coffee? Can I get coffee and feed it to my cat? Just curious. I mean, I got a cat. I think it's a cat. Is it a cat or is it one of them weird animals that you get in some of them areas? Yes, Murky, that's exactly what he means. How about the ZT? Okay, let's see here. How common is Detent Lash on Hinders? I don't know. I literally have owned this many Hinders, and I have handled about that many. So, in that many, batting 0 out of 5 that had Detent Lash. So, I mean, I have not had enough of them in hand to be able to give you an informed decision. Been carrying my Crooked River for months now. Probably on average use it 3 times a day. Just sits with the lint most of the time. I know when the washers need attention because it stops falling shut. Polly says he hacked my account. Cool. When I go in and I fill out the entire report that I have to finish filling out for Google, I will make sure I point them your direction. Does that sound like a plan? Sound like something you want to deal with? And I'll tell you why your regular videos don't get as much traction as your shorts. I'll tell you when we're done. Well, I'll tell you now. I don't know. I don't know if I should say this. I'll tell you after. I'll tell you later. I'll send you a text. Or I'll call you tomorrow. So, Civet, that's what it was. It's Civet Cat. It's a cat. God, I want a hawk mud so bad. I don't. I really don't. Like, I see all these things that people and I'm like, I don't think I want it. Guys, if you're part of the paid membership and you're in the Gilded server, I am probably going to sell some of my knives that never get carried. I probably am. I have several that are on the block as to whether I'm keeping them. I have one of the first 5 ever made Olamics that I may be parting ways with. I just never carry it. I love it. It's a great knife. I just never carry it. This has Detent Lash. It's not bad. I had a lot of knives that had it worse. I'm on the fence. It's a great knife. I just never carry it. It was a gift, but I was also told I could do whatever I wanted with it. I hear civet coffee has minimal flavor. The cats digest the bad bits, but they also digest any. It's really, really, really. You have to drink it black. Like you honestly do. You can't. If you're a guy that puts creamer in your coffee and you buy that stuff, you ruined it. You wasted your money. You drink it black. It's really fruity. It doesn't have it gets rid of a lot of the harsh acidic flavors that you get. You know what it compares to? It really compares to cold brew. What's the blade steel, John P? This is M390. And you can't see it because this is on the short list of knives that I may be parting with. I'm not 100% sure. I do need to get with Eugene though. It has a slight amount of lock slip, and I don't feel comfortable selling it until not lock slip, lock flex. I don't think it would slip. So that one I'm thinking about. I have a Ferrum Forge Mass Drop S35 VN Buccaneer that I was looking at getting. Maybe. I don't know. I really like this one. Ooh, that sounds good, guys. Listen to this. Want to hear it in the echo chamber? Watch this. Let's listen to this knife in the echo chamber. That sounds good. That's a lot of fun. It's got a ting to it. Yeah, I like a really good espresso. I've had espresso shots, zero bitterness and just flavor. That I like I said, the civet coffee was really just it was like ice. It was like cold brew. I'm not changing the background just for that. I thought about getting rid of that one. Where did I put? They're not all in here. Oh, that's why. I pulled them out separate because I was going to take some pictures of them. Made me question my whole existence. What did, Tyler? What did? I got to talk to my doctor. I'm starting to get my grandfather had it too. I have the same thing that Forrest Whitaker had. My grandfather had it too. It's where your eyelids start to droop really bad. It's getting way worse. You can see it way worse on this side. You see? So, Josh Worth, I want a Wayfarer at some point. This is the Wayfarer in the what did they call Sheep's Cliff, which I don't know. It's just so comfortable. Oh yeah, this one just doesn't have that really nice sound. I will say the problem I have with this is that I can't. It's really hard to reverse flick this one. So, and this one is unique. I don't know I don't know how or what they use, but the detent ball on this is white ceramic on these. So, yeah. Well, guys, I'm hot, sweaty, I'm tired, and I don't know if we're going to keep going any longer on this. So, I'm dying out here. I've got a fan on and a door open. I'm just blowing fucking smoke from the wildfires in. It's making my throat hurt. Let's see. Where's the other? Oh, yeah. So if you're one of the paying members, you may also find yourself able to pick up a Ferrum Forge in-house Microtech, or not Microtech, Midtech Mako Gavco Ferrum Forge collab. I love this knife. I always wanted to have one, and I never, ever carry this. So it's a toss-up as to whether I want to maybe get rid of this one. No. Ceramic doesn't... Okay, so it's not like an eraser. It's not like a piece of plastic where it's going to leave a track on it. The ceramic is ceramic. It's just that they used white ceramic as opposed to black ceramic or gray ceramic. The track on the blade is going to be the same because it's still ceramic. It's still harder than the steel. What I was saying is I never carry this, and it just feels... It's Theo Lord. It is absolutely going to the paying members first in the knife trade section. So if you're a paying member, you're going to maybe see this pop up. So I'm on the fence as to whether I want, because I'm not getting rid of a lot of my Ferrum Forges. I love all my Ferrum Forges, and the fact is there were only ever 200 of this one made, and there was only ever 100 of these that Elliot did. But I have 3 that I'm thinking about getting rid of. My Mordax, the OG Mordax, the original OG Mordax, never gets carried. Great knife. Really good finish on that. It's got almost like a gunmetal polished. This one I'm thinking about. And then there's another one that I thought of. Because while I love it, it's not practical. And that is the hand-carved Gavco Collab spinner. This is a maker's choice. They called this one the Marlin. So they did 10 maker's choice on this run. So this is one of 10. Each one of the maker's choice was done differently. They were kind of a nautical theme or an underwater theme, I think, if I remember right. I do love this knife a lot, but I'm thinking it seems selfish for me just to keep it when I know it's just sitting in that case. So, but this would definitely this is definitely going to be way more expensive than the others. There were only 10 of the maker's choice done. I'll show you another maker's choice that will never go anywhere in case there's someone that has never seen it. And that's this one, because this was made specially for me. So someone said white is smoother than black. You know what? Ceramic is ceramic, just happens to deal with the mud. I don't think that's okay, because if anything, that detent ball feels a little grittier. But that I also refinished that blade. So, but yeah, this one, in case you've never been on the channel, this is a Ferrum Forge Master Blaster collab with Les George, and I was unable to purchase one of these. I didn't have the money. I'd seen a couple come up, still didn't have the money. None of them were for sale. Elliot had one blade left that was still usable. One blade that was still viable. And he had a set of scales, and he inserted a copper inlay, left it tall, carved it out. So if you were to look, that's not just on the surface. Like, that was tall and proud down the middle. And then he carved into it to give it I'm a big fan of the movie Alien. Elliot's a big a fan of the movie Alien, and any of the Giger stuff. As a matter of fact, he went overseas to Switzerland to the Giger Museum. But knowing that I like that, and I like the ones that he's done that are like that, he carved that in a fashion that he knew I would like, and this was a gift from Nico and Tino, and then so they got that done. So this is, xenomorph, exactly. It's very, very biomechanical. So I love this knife. This is one of my, I'd have to say this is one of the 2 knives that are my prized possessions, really. Well, 3. So I have the knife my first knife that my father ever gave me that's in a case over there. Do I have any knives I refuse to carry? No. Wow. I carry my Norseman. As a matter of fact, I used my Norseman today to cut up a bunch of stuff. Like most people are like, oh my God, what are you doing? I was, it's a fucking knife. I use it. I have no knives that I refuse to carry, with the exception of the small little pocket knife that was a gift from my father, the first knife I was ever given. I still have it, and I refuse to carry it just because I don't want to lose it. But I did carry it the entire time I was in the military. I carried a little piece of home with me across 16% of the countries in the world through deployments and things like that. So it just always was a way for me to kind of like have a little piece of home. I don't have any knives that I refuse to carry. I have knives that I don't use as much because I do like the fact, like, I use the shit out of this one. Like, you can see like the wear on the ceramic of that blade. You can see how it's darker. This gets used all the time. I use the shit out of this. But I have some knives that I don't use as often because, you know, either sentimental attachment, or I just know that I could never replace it, or I have some knives that there's just no way that I would ever be able to get it done or repaired. You know what I mean? But I mean, I don't have any. I did have a knife that I refused to carry. I did at one point. I sold it. I had a mixed strider full custom that was just, it was just entirely too nice for me to fuck up. And so I sold it. But yeah, I don't have any safe queens. Everything is available for use. Like I said, I used some of my most expensive knives on a daily basis. So now I like this knife, like this W601. I don't carry it as often as I used to because it's a discontinued model, and I don't think I could replace it or get parts to replace it. I mean, I could possibly get Wii to send me some stuff, but like, I really like this knife, and it's outrageous and it's awesome, but I don't carry it as often as I used to. But my goodness, that thing is sharp, terrifying. So Ember's here. Hey, Ember 13 is here. So yeah, 28 people here. If you have not dropped a like, I would appreciate it. I'm probably gonna end this. It's 9:18 at night. It's still really hot out here, and I want to go be somewhere where it's not as warm. Nick Merks. Hey, everybody. Dr. Nick. Let's see here. I try to sell any that don't get carried. Like I said, I have some knives that just like, I just can't get rid of. Like, I do have knives that I just can't get rid of. And it's really hard for me to part with any of them in here because I know the second it's like my Sebenza. I would never, I have knives I would refuse to sell. Let's put it that way. To answer, I don't have knives that I refuse to carry. But I do have knives that I refuse to sell. I won't ever sell the Sebenza 21. Like, I won't. The reason is they don't make it anymore. And 2, this is the second Sebenza I owned. I owned a Sebenza that was in BG52. Can't remember what steel was that they used before they went to. So it was BG52, an S30V, then S35VN, and then they switched to whatever they're using now. I think it's MagnaCut. I sold this knife. There was a guy that wanted it. I had used the shit out. Like, no joke, I used it to cut sandpaper and I resharpen it. I used it to, like, I scraped paint with it. It was all effed up. And the dude paid me almost what I paid for it. So you want to talk about a knife that holds its value? Sebenzas do hold their value. And so I sold it. And literally within a week, I was like, I should have never done that. And ordered a Sebenza 21 in S35VN from knifeart.com. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm never getting rid of that. Like, the only way I would get rid of it is if someone traded up to like a 31. If they're like, bro, I like the 21 better. I like the way it feels. I like the original pocket clip placement. You know, something like that. Like, I will trade you a 31, but I got to see it first. And I got to make sure it feels the way I want it to feel, just like this did. So, any grails for you at the moment? No, I actually, I've told people this and they don't believe me. I constantly was on there was 3 knives that I said I had to own. They were my end all be all grails when I really got into knives heavy. I said that I had to have a Ferrum Forge Fortis A with that exact blade finish. I said I had to have one. It was the only one I ever wanted. It was the only Fortis I would have, and only Fortis I ever wanted. Was this exact one with that milling pattern and that blade finish. Nico bought this for me as a gift, right? Because he knew how much I wanted. He found one. He got it for me as a gift. So that was my first grail. At the same time that I had found this and knew I wanted one so badly was about the first time I ever saw John Grimsmo making knives. And I saw some of the finished ones, and I was like, I don't know about it. And then I got one in for sharpening. And I was like, I've got to own one of those. And I finally, guys, no joke. I know that I always complain about money being tight and things like that. But the fact is, I saved nickels, dimes, pennies that I found on the street. I brought them home. I put them in a can until I had enough money to get this. And when I got it, I had enough money left over to get the Exo gravity knife. When I got this knife, I have not had the urge to buy a knife. Now, I did buy a knife because I wanted to see the difference. I have the Cancept Prickle that I did buy because it's a good knife, but I'm probably going to do that as a giveaway, or I'll sell it. But yeah, this was the one. Now, the third knife that I said was a grail, I've handled enough of now to know I can pass on it. Like, I thought I wanted one so bad. The first time I ever saw Jim Skelton show a Rockstead, I thought I wanted one. And I still like them, but I have one here. This is the 4th one. I've had the Shin, I've had the Higo, and the, what's the smaller one? I had the Higo. At any rate, so I've had the Higo 2 is still here. I got to ship that back out to its owner. I thought I wanted one so bad. And the fact is, they're great. It is probably, like, there is no knife you're ever going to find in a production knife that has that level of quality control, that level of scrutiny. It is like a Sebenza on HGH, on human growth hormones. It is the best possible production thumb stud opening washer knife you will ever. I had the Higo, I had the Heizen, I had the Shin. I've had 2 Heizens, 1 Higo, and 1 Shin. I've had 4 of them come in, and I'm like, it's not. Is it incredible? Yes, it's amazing. I just can't justify it. It's not something I would use, especially with that mirror polish. I would honestly, it would be a knife I wouldn't carry, and I just can't have that. So these two have hit a spot. I've hit a spot where I don't feel the urge to buy knives. I bought the Canset Prickle just to give that knife the highest possible chance of me liking it. And I like the copper one. It's just way too heavy. So yeah, no, I don't have anything that's on my radar that would be something I have to have. I thought about, PDM bought me a gift last year, which was that double shadow dagger, the Gil Hibben one that I'd always wanted since high school. And the only reason I got that was I had enough points on Knife Center to buy it because it was only like 60, 80 bucks. I had enough points to get it on Knife Center. So I didn't even pay for it. Like, because I've bought knives for people, and people are like, oh, buy me this because I know you get credit points. So I looked, and I haven't bought anything, so I didn't have any points. And I'm like, well, I'm not getting it. I wanted to get the companion to that, which is the single dagger. It's part of Gil Hibben's. I'll go get it. Hang on just a second. We're running out of time anyway. I'll go get it. It's part of Gil Hibben's wire wrapped handles. So let me grab it. I'm sure you all have seen it. The second I show it to you, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's a very distinctive. It's a very distinctive knife, and I saw one in high school for the first time, and I was like, when I saw this and I bought it, and it definitely was a PDM purchase. I did a video about it. I actually got emotional when it showed up. Like, I know I bought it for myself, but it's like dumb me. Like, PDM did it. Like, it was very. I don't have a split personality, but I could have a split personality. Like, PDM did this, and I felt, but I used points. I'd wanted one of these since I was a kid, and when it came and I opened it, I held it, I literally almost cried because it took me back to a time when my dad was still alive. And things were really good. I hadn't joined the military yet. I was just a high school kid. I didn't have to worry about anything. Oh, hey, I was just talking about your Higo. Thank you very much, sir. Dropping the 2 bones. It took me back. And there's purchases that you make. They do that. And that's why you buy them. This isn't practical at all. But what I was saying is, back to the case point, I thought about getting myself the single version of this. With the wire wrapped handles, and I just couldn't justify it. They're like 80 bucks, $100. I mean, am I ever gonna carry this and use this? No. This is a fun, goofy thing that should be a wall hanger, but it is cool and it is fun. And I was like, you know what? I got points. Like, a little voice in my head was like, "Hey, man, you got a bunch of points on Knife Center." And I went on there. I'd seen it. I forget how it happened. Like, I saw it. And I was like, fuck, I still want one of those so bad. And then that little voice in my head was like, "Hey, man, you got a bunch of points on that Knife Center over there where you buy a bunch of knives, people and stuff." I was like, you know what? Random, uneducated, dirt floor, poor hillbilly in my head. You're absolutely correct. And I went and I saw how much it was. I saw how many points I had. And I got it. But like I said, every once in a while, you got to do that. If you don't allow yourself to have those little whimsical things that happen in your life that are just spontaneous, you do those things and you fuck it, like fuck all, I don't care. Then you've given in and you've not become. I like to say I'm an adult because that's just the definition of age. Grown up is when they take your soul. When you turn into a grown up and you don't, and things like this just don't make you smile, and when it's raining outside, you don't want to immediately run outside and jump in puddles, then you're a grown up. Then you just need to fucking hang it up because then it's over. I'm never going to be a grown up. Matter of fact, I'm planning things for my funeral that show I never grew up. My sister and all my friends also all know that if I'm cremated, they are to put popcorn in my clothing at the funeral. So when I get cremated, the guy at the crematorium gets a fucking surprise. I want the Round and Round the Mulberry Bush song to be played at increasing speed during my during the viewing when I'm in my casket, with it playing increasingly to the point where people are like, "Is he gonna fucking pop out of that thing?" I want one of my friends, doesn't matter who, they have got to. I don't give a fuck who does it. They have got to dress up as the Grim Reaper and come out at the very end of the viewing before the graveside services, come out dressed as a Grim Reaper and throw a bouquet of black flowers over their shoulder, just like you do at a wedding, so you can figure out who's next. The final thing is to show everyone where my funeral is. I want one of those car shop flailing arm man with the blowers. I want one of the little ones with a sign that says funeral. I'm gonna put the fun in funeral. I'm never gonna grow up. So, guys, it's been 2 hours. I love y'all. If you enjoy the content, I'm not asking you to drop a super chat. Just asking you to share it, like it, share it, like it again, share it with a bunch of people. If you really like the content, join the membership, support the channel. Recently just bought $200 worth of lights so that I don't look like I live in a dungeon. So a lot of stuff is going on. I will let you in on something. There is a collaboration that I'm doing. I don't know when it's going to be on someone else's channel. And there is a chance. You guys ready for this? I'm going to put it out. I'm going to get with Jim. There is a good chance we're going to go a little early on the live feed on Friday, because Jim Skelton has said that he's willing to do another live feed. A lot of you guys have asked about it. I can't think of a day that I don't get a comment. Somebody asking, when are you going to have Jim back on? And I was like, you know what? I love Jim. Jim and I are good friends. I have access to Jim. I text Jim all the time. And I'm like, why don't I just ask? And so I asked Jim yesterday if he would, or yesterday or today, if he wanted to be on Friday. He said yes. What time? I have not responded back to him. How do I join? Theo Lord, if you go to my actual channel, because I imagine you're probably watching on a phone, but if you go down into the description of this video, or down below this video, there should be a join tab. If not, if you go to my actual channel on a computer, you'll see a membership. And I've got it all tier-based, so I'll lay the tiers out for you since there's a handful of people here, still 25 people. You guys want to hear about it? So I have 3 tiers. I have Just Looking, Baseline, and Premium. Just Looking gets access to the Gilded server and has access to the Gilded server, saves $5 off my sharpening service, and gets to see like B-roll and stuff like that. Baseline and Premium members have all of that, $5 off, Gilded server, but they also get automatically entered to giveaways that I do on the Gilded server. So about monthly, I do a giveaway. I'm doing, I owe you guys a giveaway. I just basically pick a random person. I announce it. I take a screenshot of the choosing. So what I do is I just go through, I pick up however many Premium Baseline tier members there are, and I put them in a stack, and I pick a random number, and I count from the top to the bottom. Whoever that number is, counting from top to bottom, is the winner. And then Premium tier members have access to a sharpening. I do know, you guys, that there has not been a sharpening tutorial that goes up, but I think we hit almost everything. I think the only thing we have not done is recurves, and I've done enough videos about recurves. So if you guys that are the Premium members, tell me if there's like a specific sharpening tutorial you want, and I can start working on putting that together. So that's it. And on the Gilded server, in case you guys are curious, like any of you guys that joined, I know John P, I don't think you have joined the Gilded server. I have a server where we have multiple. That's all right, Chuck it. Don't worry about it. I know you live in your truck. He's a truck driver. He's not like homeless. He's a truck driver. Basically like homeless, but his truck's really nice. It's got a kitchen and shit. So at any rate, like I was saying, is on the Gilded server, there's multiple rooms. So there's a chat room for just general chat. There's a specific video for Sharpening Norseman. It's up and it's open for general because I did it, and John shares it with owners. So there's already a sharpening video. John asked if I would do a video about how I would sharpen a Norseman. So at any rate, what I was saying was, oh, you joined that? Okay, John, you did. Okay, so like I said, there's all kinds of different chat rooms. I have one specifically for the Cutlery Corner Network, which we're going to utilize because I have a couple things I have to do. So when I break from here, I'm going to open up Cutlery Corner Network. It's okay. Well, I'll post it. I'll post it in the Guilded server when we're done. It's like 45 minutes. It's a beginning to end. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits that I do. So if you guys are curious about that, memberships, but like I said, if you want to support channels like guys that create videos, like I said, we don't do it for free. A lot of us, like this is my income right now because there's so many things that are medically wrong with me. I can't, like, I won't ever be. My doctor told me, he's like, you're never going back doing construction. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, he's like, give it up. You're not going back to construction. He's like, you have a hard time walking around on any given day on a good day. So, but yeah, like, so this is what I do for a living now. I like to think I'm getting better at it. So guys, 23 of you guys here. If you have not already dropped a like, I would appreciate it. I'm on my way out. I love you guys. Video goes up tomorrow. I had a video that I had filmed but never edited and completely forgot about. So there's a Tucson 380 TS380 video that goes up tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to have the video I want to do for Friday done by Friday, but I've already been working on it. I talked about it in today's video. It's going to take a bit of work. I'm going to see if I can coffee etch Damasteel. It's already in the works. It's already sitting. I don't know what the end results are going to be. I may have to refilm it. So I don't know what there might not be a video up on Friday. I'm not sure yet because with the hiccup of not being able to upload, and then my daughter's had some medical stuff. She has tests tomorrow. Had to take her today. It's been hectic. Like it's just been nuts. So I apologize. There might not be a video, but like I said, I'm trying to focus on content that I'm proud of and happy with versus content that's just up because there's supposed to be a video go up. Content for content's sake feels sad and unhappy, and it just feels like it's dialed in, and I don't want to do that. You guys, there's a lot of people that pay. There's like, let's see, I can tell you how many people pay currently. Well, I haven't gotten any subscribers. I can tell you that. I do know that. Let's see. I haven't got any subscribers since the last time we looked. So if you're not subscribed, I'd appreciate it. I currently have paying members on members. Well, I can't necessarily say I didn't. Current paying members. I have 71 paying members, but I lost 13 of them. I lost 13 members because Beard of Doom had donated a bunch, and a lot of people didn't resubscribe. So yeah, close the chat. There you go. Chuck, it says close the chat and look for join. There you go. You have to close the chat. It's other than that. But like I said, it's on my. So content for content's sake makes unhappy viewers. Yeah, I mean, and I was doing 9 videos a week. I was 2 videos a day. Like, no one needs to see me more than you guys already see me 8 times a week. I do a video Monday through Friday. Sometimes I do a short, and I do 3 live feeds. That's 8 times a week. Fuck, my wife doesn't want to see me that much. So, yeah, yeah, Chuck, it says if you're on Apple, it's a process. It's not really, though, if you just go on a computer to the actual channel. But if you close the chat, you should be able to see the join tab. Guys, I will stay here and talk. I've had a lot of coffee. I have to upload tomorrow's video. It has not been uploaded yet. I have to do that. If you guys are going to be up, I will be watching Cutlery Corner Network while I'm uploading. So feel free to stop by. It's finally 79 degrees in the studio. So, yeah, that's it, guys. I love you all. Thanks for being here. Thanks. Drop a like on your way out. I do appreciate it. If you did drop a super chat, I appreciate it. If you're just here, I appreciate it. If you made a comment, I appreciate it. If you have a channel that you like, go support them. I support 2 channels. Oh, guys, I got the coolest thing ever. I did. I have to show you this before we go. I do have to show you this. I did get something. I got something amazing. I'm going to show you what I got. And it just so happened it showed up on my birthday, but it was not a birthday present. So let me show you before we go. Let me show you what I got. This is fucking epic. I'm coming. I'm coming. We're working on this. Don't up and take off yet. I wanted to show you guys this. So, speaking of channels that I support, I'm I have 3 channels. I'm sorry. I'm a member on Jared's channel because Jared has done so much to help me out. I am a member of Jeremy's channel, The Quartering, because I appreciate what he does. I like the coffee company. I like his take on news. But I also support one other channel because I start my day every day with their content. I wake up every morning and I watch whatever video because their videos go up at 4 a.m. my time, which means the second I wake up, I see what Rhett and Link put up over on Good Mythical Morning. And so I am a paying member. And as a paying member of the top tier of their paying member, you get every quarter, you get free merchandise, exclusive merchandise. So this month, we got signed copies of Rhett and Link sing Brooks and Dunn in the year 3000 on vinyl. It is an absolutely honest-to-God vinyl record, still in its sleeve, of them singing Brooks and Dunn, Neon Moon, and Boot Scootin' Boogie, and I'm going to put this somewhere for safekeeping. It's never going to get messed with because this is one of the coolest things that any channel does. I wish I could afford to be able to do things like that with merch. I just can't. But it is fun. So, one of the coolest things I've gotten in a long time, Rhett and Link sing Brooks and Dunn. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome. I had it up there just to say, now I'm going to take this and put it someplace cool. And I'm going to put it someplace where it's not going to warp. And I'm going to make sure I take care of it because I don't want to ruin it. Okay, AD 20.5 in K110 or OS 10. Which would I choose? Here's the thing. I like the 80-20. Not a fan of the 80-20.5. I'm really not. So in my opinion, I really don't have an opinion. I don't like OS 10, to tell you the truth. I have not gotten anything in OS 10 that was not a little bad on sharpening and heat treat. I really haven't. I've had 3 knives come in OS 10, and I was unhappy with the sharpening results on all of them. And I don't know what K110 is. So OS 10, K110, I haven't got to see any K110. But in all honesty, I just don't like the 80-20.5. I like the full size version of 80-20 drop point, the one that Jared let me borrow. So, guys, I gotta go. I will stay here forever. I love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you later.